Right now on the National Weather Desk, Hurricane Hilary, the powerful Category 4 storm, could bring heavy rain to Southern California.
It's pretty rare for these storms to hit California.
Unhealthy air, more smoke from those Canadian wildfires is heading to the United States.
New fires just ejecting smoke towards the Midwest.
Tick threat, why it's so important to protect yourself and know the symptoms of a tick bite.
The best way to protect yourself is prevention.
Apple season starts early thanks to a sweet surprise from Mother Nature.
In recent weeks, there's been a lot of rain in the fields.
And the fall outlook is in, the weather you can expect to see in the coming months.
From our nation's capital, this is the National Weather Desk.
And good morning and welcome to the National Weather Desk. I'm Angela Brown. Hurricane season is now in full gear. We are watching a number of storms in the Atlantic, along with a powerful hurricane in the Pacific heading towards California. Now, Hurricane Hilary is now a powerful Category 4 storm with winds of 145 miles an hour. And as you can see right here in this animation, it has a well-defined eye and lots of rain. Meteorologist Brian Vandergraaf is tracking Hilary this morning. Now, Brian, where's the storm now, and when will people in California start feeling the effects?
Well, they'll start feeling the effects as we head into the weekend, Angela. I want to show you here on the maps. It is a Category 4 storm right now. What does that mean? That means winds of 145 miles per hour with gusts at 175 miles per hour. It's going to continue up towards the Baja Peninsula and then come on land into Southern California as we head into the back half of the weekend and early next week, most likely as a strong tropical storm or a Category 1 storm as it comes on landfall. We're talking about some unprecedented rains. Rains they typically see over a whole year could fall within this time period of, 24, 36 hours. 3 to 6 inches of rain, a possibility with some higher spots potentially pushing up to 10 inches in isolated spots. And that is why there is that alert up there for excessive rainfall as we head towards the end of the weekend. Listen, others development as well in the Gulf, potentially a 30% chance of development over the next 7 days, and 3 waves out in the Atlantic could develop as we head into early next week. That is a look at the forecast. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Brian. No matter what happens over the next few days, it's clear Hilary will go down in the record books. It's been more than 80 years since California was hit with a tropical storm. Meteorologist Miles Muzio explains why storms like this are simply so rare.
Tropical cyclones in the eastern Pacific are pretty common, but it's pretty rare for these storms to hit California. That's because the tropical easterlies take all of these systems out to the west of California. Plus, the sea surface temperature has to be very, very warm, over 80 degrees. And once you get off the coast of California, it's much cooler than that, and hurricanes hate cold water. Nonetheless, there was a hurricane which hit the San Diego area back in 1858. That was 8 years after California became a state. And there was another system, a tropical storm that killed 93 people in 1939 in Long Beach. Those 2 systems were the only 2 landfalling tropical cyclones ever in recorded history in California. However, there was another system that came across the border here. This was Tropical Storm Kathleen back in 1976 with 15 inches of rain in El Centro, a lot of damage there. And now we have Tropical Cyclone Hilary coming about every 80 years, as it turns out. There seems to be a little bit of a cycle to it there, that we get a landfalling hurricane or a tropical storm.
Coming up in about 10 minutes, we'll hear from an official with the National Hurricane Center about what they are doing to increase warning times for potential hurricanes along the coast. The Climate Prediction Center released its fall outlook on Thursday. Looking at this map right here, you may notice there's no blue on it. That means nowhere in the country is expected to have below average temperatures. The Northeast and Southwest have the best chances for above average temperatures. There are equal chances for above and below normal in the plains. As for precipitation, the outlook calls for above average in the southeast, below average in the Pacific Northwest and Southwest, and normal simply everywhere else. Raging wildfires are leading to evacuations in parts of Canada's Northwest Territories. The deadline for that evacuation is noon today. About 20,000 Yellowknife residents have been urged to leave due to at least 230 active and fast-moving wildfires. A state of emergency has been declared in that region as well. And haze from the Canadian wildfires is drifting into parts of the U.S. People living in the upper Midwest and the Pacific Pacific Northwest are most likely to feel the effects. Green Bay meteorologist Patrick Powell has details.
New fires right on the Washington-Canada border up through British Columbia, portions of Northwest Canada, just ejecting smoke towards the Midwest. And that's not only going to be the case for this weekend, but really into the early portions of next week. And we also see some low-level pollutants with that smoke coming into portions of Wisconsin for tomorrow and continuing into Saturday. Put those fires in perspective, so far, over 53,000 square miles have burned over Canada this year. That's roughly the size of the state of Florida, or about 98% of the state of Wisconsin. And the largest fire in itself has burnt an area 7 times larger than Brown County. That's one fire. There have been over 5,000 fires in Canada during the summer.
Well, a ride home from school took a bizarre and scary turn for 20 kids on a school bus in Florida Thursday afternoon. This massive tree fell on a school bus right there during a strong storm in the West Palm Beach area. Lena Salzbank has details.
Robin Trainer, she lives across the street from the wreck and says the sky turned black and the rain came in hard. And that's when she saw the unthinkable outside her window.
It just, all of a sudden, the tree just came down and hit the bus. It was surreal. Like, I couldn't believe it happened.
The tree branches punctured the windows. The top of the bus smashed in. Remarkably, the kids inside were unharmed.
I ran outside and then people were already coming off the bus.
The bus driver did what he was supposed to do, and that's looking out for the safety of the children, got them all off the bus safely. There were no injuries, unfortunately. This is just a traffic mess.
Cleanup crews worked to break down that massive tree so that they could clear up some of the traffic delays along Parker Avenue, which was shut down for most of the night.
I mean, it could have fell on my house. It could have crushed me. It could have killed people. It could have been a lot worse.
Large portions of the country are looking for ways to beat what seems like the never-ending heat. Planting more trees could be one major solution. Betty Cross is in Austin, Texas, with a look at how a bigger tree canopy could help bring down those sweltering temperatures.
Ben Bertram is with Tree Folks.
Let's hold on.
The nonprofit has planted 3 million trees in Central Texas and is still working to shade urban heat islands like the area around Runberg and Lamar.
It's the hottest because there are the least amount of trees and there's the most amount of impervious cover and like concrete.
To help, the Biden administration is distributing $1 billion in grants to cities and organizations such as Tree Folks to increase equitable access to trees and green spaces.
We're planning to plant 400,000 trees.
Earlier this year, Tree Folks planted 11,000 trees in East Austin near Agave Neighborhood Park. Imagine 400,000, protecting people from extreme heat and making communities more livable.
This tree planting is the most cost-effective way of addressing climate change, but while we're doing that, we're also focusing on the community.
The EPA says air temperatures at urban heat islands are up to 7 degrees hotter than in outlying areas with more trees. The impact of shade is even greater on surface temps.
Right now, it is 96 degrees in Austin.
Elle Ignatowski brought a thermometer to show how much hotter the concrete and playground equipment will get baking in the direct sun.
Gosh, this just keeps going up and up. So I think we're at about 130 right now, and I have only been sitting out here for a few minutes.
Move to the shade and
now we see about 112.
With the surface temperature continuing to drop to the air temperature of 96 degrees.
Having a tree-lined neighborhood or a tree-lined park versus not is just a huge quality of life, physical health, mental health difference.
Harrison Ford has a new snake species named after him. As you know, Harrison Ford's character, Indiana Jones, famously can't stand snakes. Scientists discovered this new type of slender snake in Peru last year, and they named the species after Ford in honor of his decades-long fight for the environment. This is the third species named after the actor. The other two are an ant and a spider. And coming up on the National Weather Desk, we'll talk with an official from the National Hurricane Center about what they are doing to improve hurricane warning times. And it's the start of the apple season. We'll look at how the weather has impacted this year's crops.
I'm meteorologist Charlie Lopresti with a look at the Northeast. We're tracking the potential for strong to severe thunderstorms today. Here we are during the morning hours. That line works into eastern parts of New England. During the course of the afternoon, we'll have elevated humidity as well. We're watching temperatures in the 70s and 80s. Now, the humidity starts to move out on Saturday. Good news there. I think it's sun to increasing clouds for most areas. Best chance for showers will be in parts of northern New England.
I'm meteorologist Amy Aronson, and here's a look at the mid-Atlantic region. Friday's a beautiful day, lots of sunshine, little bit of a breeze, and comfy temperatures. Highs end up in the very pleasant low 80s. As we head into the weekend, dry weather actually continues. Not much to talk about on FutureScan. Plenty of sunshine for your Friday, along with that nice gentle breeze. As we get into the weekend, high pressure will nudge in from the west, and that's going to help keep our skies crystal clear. Lots of sunshine on Saturday, too. And that's the scene here.
I'm meteorologist Vetus Reed. Here's a look at your forecast highs for the day. We're seeing a temperature right around 85 for Nashville, 90 in Raleigh, 93 Charleston, Birmingham, 92 degrees. Looking at Pensacola, 95, Tampa about 89 degrees. It looks like we're seeing plenty of sunshine across the southeast as we're seeing a little drier air move across the southeastern portion of the United States. Now, there will be some showers and thunderstorms over parts of Florida. Got a little wave that's going to be pushing through the state, giving us some showers there. But for the most part, the southeast will get some sunshine.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
What a way to start the day. A beautiful sunrise amid traveling clouds in Port Arthur, Texas. Measurable rainfall there has been sparse over the past several weeks, only once in 38 days. This time-lapse shows a gloomy start in Norton, Virginia, but the sun didn't stay hidden and provided a brilliant Thursday. And what a way to end a day with these hue-rich sunsets in South Jordan, Utah.
For more content like this, follow the National Weather Desk on Instagram.
You know, you may have heard the term potential tropical cyclone over the past couple years and wondered what it actually means. It's a term the National Hurricane Center has been using to increase warning time for folks along the coastline. Meteorologist Emily Gracie sat down with someone from the Hurricane Center to get a better understanding of what you should do if you are in the path of one.
Tropical cyclone is a system that's not yet a tropical storm or hurricane, but that we think is going to develop into either a tropical storm or hurricane and impact land within our watch warning time, which is 36 to 48 hours. And we start issuing advisories on these systems so that we can go ahead and put up those watches and warnings and start alerting people to these threats.
Can you explain the difference between a potential tropical cyclone and when you log on to NHC's website and you see these blobs, these invest areas? How do they differ?
Yeah, so on our website, you'll see these various areas that are systems that could go on to form into a tropical storm or hurricane. But once that system is close enough to land and it could be a potential land threat, we will then go ahead and start to issue what we call potential tropical cyclone advisories. This is really a full forecast now for that system to be able for us to go ahead and issue those watches and warnings, and again, start talking about what those impacts are going to be, putting out all those graphics that folks normally see, a cone graphic and everything else with that to, again, highlight that threat.
Has there been any negative feedback from the public as far as understanding what this is?
I think the name does catch people a little bit. People aren't used to hearing us call systems tropical cyclones, but again, I wouldn't focus too much on the name. focus on the fact that the system could become a threat, a tropical storm or hurricane threat within the next couple of days. Heed those watches and warnings, listen to those forecasts when they're issued.
Anything new we should be looking out for, or that the general public should be looking out for when they hear warnings and watches come down?
I think the main thing is that newer storm surge watch and warning. We have to make sure that's really highlighted, because it is that storm surge risk that we need people to evacuate from the coastline for. It really is the strongest warning that we can issue ahead of a hurricane, is that storm surge watch and warning.
The hurricane comes lots of clouds, but chances are if you look up at the sky on most days, you'll see some type of cloud formation. They show up in different ways and for different reasons. Emily Santum is in Maine with a breakdown of cloud types.
In a 2015 study, NASA found that 67% of the Earth is covered with clouds at any given time. Clouds come in all shapes and sizes and reside at different heights as well. There are 3 levels to which clouds reside: low level, mid level, and high level. Cirrus, cirrocumulus, and cirrostratus clouds are high level clouds. They are cold and made out of ice crystals. Folks at home may recognize them as they are thin and look streaky. Altocumulus and altostratus clouds are mid level clouds. They are made of ice crystals and water droplets. Altostratus clouds, can actually produce light rain showers or sprinkles. Stratus and cumulus clouds are low-level clouds. These are common here in Maine. Stratus clouds look like blankets, while cumulus clouds can look like cauliflower. Cumulonimbus clouds are generally known as thunderstorm clouds. These originate from strong updrafts in cumulus clouds and can tower well above 20,000 feet. They can cause rain, hail, and even tornadoes. If you want to impress your friends or family, call a clear blue sky in nublius. It means the sky is cloudless.
Well, summer is winding down, but many places are still seeing hot temperatures, and this means ticks are still very much a problem. In some cases, a tick bite can be tragic. A Rhode Island woman died recently after contracting a rare tick-borne virus. Allegra Zaymore has more on the signs and symptoms to watch for.
Pretty sad reminder that we do need to be considering ticks during the summertime when we're outside, and the ticks can be very serious.
Powassan is a tick-borne disease that can be found in the Northeast. The Department of Health says between 2013 and 2022, there were 93 cases of Powassan reported in New England. 5 of those were in Rhode Island, a much smaller number compared to Lyme disease, which had 1,000 cases reported in the Ocean State in 2018 alone.
Symptoms can sometimes be very common in all kinds of tick-borne illnesses, and fever and chills are common, and so a rash can also happen.
Dr. Suzanne Bornschein with the Department of Health says after spending time outside, you should do a full-body tick check. Since there's no vaccine or treatment for Powassan, she says the best way to protect yourself is prevention. That starts with an EPA-approved tick repellent like DEET.
So you're looking for 10 to 30% of DEET spray. You can spray it on your clothes, wear long pants, wear long sleeves.
And if you do find yourself with a tick, there are some important steps to follow.
Remove it with a pair of tweezers, pull straight up. You don't want to squish it and leave part of it in.
Dr. Bornschein says many people will get Powassan and have no symptoms at all. She says if you do notice a tick and you start to develop any of those symptoms, you should reach out to your healthcare provider.
Well, we are inching closer to fall, and for many of us, our thoughts turn to fall crops like apples. Lynette Grant visited an orchard in Indiana where apple picking season is underway a week ahead of schedule. And as she found out, it's all because of the weather.
The Garwood family has been farming the same land for more than 180 years. Since the 1950s, people have come to Garwood orchards for apple picking. This year's season is starting early.
People are waiting all season for Honeycrisp to get ready, and that's what we have here. Premier Honeycrisp and Sweet Maya apples are right where we're standing, and that's 2 of our varieties that are ready now. Plus, we have Zestar, and we also have Gala apples.
Every 7 to 10 days, a new variety of apples are available for picking across the 500 acres at Garwood. In addition to apples, other produce items like red and blackberries, tomatoes, peppers, eggplant, and pumpkin are available throughout the year. But there are some items missing from the fields due to the weather at the start of the growing season: cherries and peaches.
Those are more susceptible. Cherries and peaches, it's pretty tough on them when it gets below like 20. I think it was probably about 26 or so that night, and that was just too much.
Apple picking is a fall activity that many enjoy. While some are experiencing it for the first time, others make it a family tradition, going year after year, introducing first-timers to a whole new world at their fingertips.
The experience is way better than going to a supermarket. You're bringing your kids, you're getting them out of the house, off their phones, off their tablets, and just enjoying the sun.
In recent weeks, there's been a lot of rain in the fields. The rain doesn't hurt the apples, but strong thunderstorms that produce hail can severely limit apple production. A few trees saw hail damage this summer, but overall, the apple crop is off to a great start.
And time now for a short break, but first let's soar over the New York City skyline.
Happy Friday, everyone. I'm meteorologist Phil Kelly. We had the cold front go through the Ohio Valley. That pushed the showers now off to the East Coast. Temperatures very comfortable. 77 in Milwaukee, 83 in St. Louis today. But notice we've got the heat building back into the Central Plains. As we get into the weekend, that heat really going to start to crank up. We're talking triple digits from Kansas City up to Sioux City, Wichita at 106, into the mid to upper 80s as we go into the Ohio Valley to start the weekend.
Good Friday morning to meteorologist Chris Suchan. Look at our forecast today across the region and really not expecting to see much of a rain chance. A lot of heat, though, across Texas, Oklahoma, 91 Little Rock, almost 100 in New Orleans, and, of course, with higher humidity as well near the Gulf. We head into Saturday here, too. A lot of hot sunshine expected. It looks like early next week towards Texas, we may see some tropical rains come in off the Gulf. Above normal on the temperatures and above normal on rainfall for the western portions of the region.
Well, hi there, everybody, and good Friday morning to you. I'm meteorologist Shannon O'Donnell. Still a lot of mid-August heat here out west. Coolest around the California coastline with just 70 in the city by the bay, thanks to the fog near the Golden Gate, and 106 out of Phoenix with monsoonal moisture pushing over the Four Corners region. That will be an issue again throughout the entire Intermountain West today, cooling down finally in Seattle and Portland. And that's the scene from here.
Watching the National Weather Desk.
We have talked a lot today about hurricanes and severe weather. One thing everyone needs to remain safe in the event of a major weather event is a safe space. Meteorologist Christina Ernie explains what that is.
Severe weather season is really starting to pick up, and you need to know your safe space, whether you're at home, work, school, or just out and about. So what kind of areas are you looking for? There's a few things that you want to look for, including a room with absolutely no windows, in the interior most part of your home or business. Oh yeah, away from water too. It's also a good idea to identify a place that you can get under that's very stable, like a desk. And also try to find a place that's at the lowest level of the home or building you're in, like a first floor or even a basement. Also, in that safe space, you should have non-perishables just in case, important documents, and even some backup battery power.
And we'd love to share your weather content on the air. You can find us on all of your favorite social media platforms: Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. Just search the National Weather Desk, and we will be right back. Thank you for joining us Monday on the National Weather Desk. We're bringing the latest on Hurricane Hilary. I'm Angela Brown. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you right back here next week.